All right. So, William,
Yes.
you and I saw a movie,
A
a
movie.
movie,
Yep.
and not only did we see the movie, but we saw it in the theaters.
In the theater.
Yeah.
I know.
So, what was that like for you to go back?
Um, you know, it's really weird to go back and to go back to the theater, have this does that be a thing? Like, oh, we're returning to the theater.
Yeah.
Like the only time I've ever sort of felt like that is like when they've remodeled something or like a new theater is opening up locally, which
Yeah.
hasn't happened in like 20 something years. So to be have this feeling of like, oh wow, I haven't been in here in like a year and a half, it was kind of weird. And like wearing your mask and all that stuff and trying to be safe. But I don't know. The thing that's just it was a nice thing where it was like it was nice. It was nice to like have something that was kind of like taken away due to the pandemic, but at the same time, I don't know. It just didn't feel like the old way. It didn't also feel like, oh, it's everything was like back to normal. It just
Yeah.
felt like we found a way to kind of like take what you normally experience and tape it on to like what's happened, like make it work essentially.
Yeah.
I liked it. I had a good time with it. I have really no like weird, unsafe, weird, like
Yeah.
no
Right.
weirdness, but
Was it busy when you went?
no, no, no. There was only like a handful of people.
And you
Oh
went?
no, wait. No, it was really busy. No, no, because I've gone twice or three times now. I saw Shang-Chi way back in
Oh
like
wow.
September.
That was your first time back in the theater.
Yeah, that was my very first time back in the theater. I went and saw Shang-Chi
Huh.
on Labor Day, whatever day that was. It was a Monday, and it was in there, and there was like four people in the theater, and
Oh,
that was really weird. And then I went and saw Ghostbusters, and trying to remember, still not that many. I mean, not like a packed theater by any means. I mean, maybe 15 people. But Spider Man was pretty full. It wasn't like to capacity, but it definitely was like 20 plus 30 people. And
that's
so it's like it's funny to say that because you think like, oh, that's a lot of people, but I mean, I've gone to midnight showings where it's like I'm in the front row and I can barely see what the movie's doing, and there's like 60 people in here. So, but
it's one like you were saying, it's one of those things that like we've been doing ever since we were kids. Like, going to the movie
right,
has always been like a big thing, and then to have to just have movies be gone for a while too. Like
I know,
it's like you play apocalyptic games and you think like, wow, they'll never make another movie, or this can of beans is the last can of beans ever made. Like you'll never to
no,
live in
I
a
know,
world like that, or we're like they're not even they're not even filming movies. Like they're not even making movies. There's nowhere to see them. And then they
I
started
know,
to, and it was like, well, you can pay for it to watch it at your house. I was like, I don't
right,
really want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's
right.
not. I love like you and I both like we love the theater. We love
Yeah, there's certain movies that like I don't mind watching on the television screen or
yeah
whatever, but like certain stuff, it's like I want the big experience. I want the big, the big screen and like other strangers like laughing and
yeah
crying
right.
and yelling at the screen or whatever.
You guys came over and watched um, Kong versus Godzilla
Oh yeah, yeah,
on HBO when that came out.
yeah.
That was fun. I mean, it was
Oh
fun.
yeah, that's fine.
It was all right. I mean, that movie probably would have been a lot better on the big screen for sure.
Sure, sure, yeah.
But the one of the funny things is like you keep seeing the director for that new Gucci movie.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
was there was a thing before Spider-Man in the theater, and he was like, "I hate anytime
Yes.
filmmakers say this movie was made to see in theaters." It's like they all are. What are you talking about? Like every movie is made for the theater.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just hate I hate that. Like, oh, this movie was specifically shot for the theater. Well, yeah, with your
Yeah.
cameras, yeah, I'm sure it was.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that also made me laugh because I was thinking like I'm sitting here to watch Spider-Man
yeah,
and he's like this movie was made to be in a theater. I'm like, oh yeah, your Gucci movie
Cool.
was definitely
Definitely.
made to be.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I can't wait to go see Lady Gaga be the woman from that own
So
Gucci.
funny.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh,
same thing. Did I talk? It was you last night. I can't remember if it was you last night. I was
oh,
saying this
no.
is the thing. I like Ridley Scott and I like
Mhm.
James Cameron. They're fine
Oh,
directors. They've
yeah.
made really really good movies.
Yeah.
But then they come out and they crap on
Yeah.
Marvel stuff or
Oh, yeah.
just superhero movies in general. And it's like, but they can't wait to make, the fourth sequel of their dying franchise. And they're like, this is the best thing ever. And then the same thing happened.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, dude, this isn't like, wow, you're a great director. It's like you're a Weasley businessman.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame becomes the number one um, box office hit. Like not counting what's the term for old stuff coming to new? Not counting that
Oh,
inflation. Not counting inflation.
yeah. Yeah.
It was the highest grossing film. And so, what does James Cameron go and do? He
Uh-huh.
re-releases Avatar in China. They go and see it, and they play it for like however many, like a week or two, and it pushes Avatar again above
Yeah.
Endgame,
He's
so that Avatar can be the number one highest grossing film.
he's a baby. He's a
And
baby.
it's like, dude, you're re-releasing something that happened 10 years ago in a different country. You didn't re-release it worldwide.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, you made a couple $100,000 or another couple $1 million on it, and now it's over this thing. It's like this other movie that just came out totally capsized your film.
Well,
Like, it's okay, man. It's okay.
the thing about James Cameron, right, is he got lucky twice.
Right,
That's his claim to fame. He got lucky with Titanic,
right.
and then the next thing he did was like this big epic sci-fi thing. I mean, basically all he did was he took like Native American lore and made them blue
Right,
aliens on a
right.
different planet. That's
Yeah.
beside the point, right? He got lucky with
It's
that because at
yeah,
that era, 3D visuals in movie theaters was like this new. It was like fascinating, and I
yeah.
remember seeing it in theaters and I was like, this 3D sucks. Like it
I
sucks.
know, yeah. Wasn't that it was a thing where it could add depth to the
Yeah,
film. The background looked farther away. And it was like, that's neat, but it's like,
I don't
by
need
no
it.
means is this that interesting
No.
of a
You
movie.
you know what I prefer in a movie is good storytelling, good characters,
I
good,
know.
and Avatar was fine. Like it wasn't.
Yeah,
It's
I don't think Avatar is the most like stupidest movie I've ever seen,
no.
but like
It had good
the other movies
visuals.
that yeah, visually it's wonderful. What they do in the movie is really cool, and it's cool that they're all like original concept things,
Yeah,
like all the aliens and creatures and stuff. I
I
like
I
all that.
I respect it for being made, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying, to sit there and talk crap about, oh well, they made 3 Iron Man movies and they made 3 and 4 Avenger movies, and then you're gonna come out and you're gonna make 3 more Avatar movies that not one person on the planet has asked for or been craving.
Right.
I remember when everybody saw Avatar the first time, like, yeah, that was really good. Like everybody loved it. And then what do? They saw it a second time and they said, yeah, it wasn't as good the second time because the magic was gone. Like the magic
Right.
is
Yeah.
over.
I don't know though. There must be some group of people out there because Disney added all that Avatar stuff
Yeah.
to their
And that
thing,
stuff
and I
is
don't
that
know.
stuff is really cool because like the planet of Pandora is really cool and interesting. And Disney puts, millions of dollars into like an experience of making it feel like you're there. And it's cool. It's really cool. But like I don't need 3 more movies.
Yeah,
What could he possibly tell? What could he possibly tell in those movies?
I don't know. Whatever Pocahontas 2 told, probably.
Oh, so it's the blue alien's gonna take these 2 white guys.
This time, whatever the Navi go back to where the humans live, right? And now she's got to fit in,
No,
whatnot, or
the
whatever.
Navi, no, they build those containers that they can lay in and transfer their thoughts to human bodies, and they infiltrate.
Wow.
Yeah, follow me. Now follow me. Now they go to London. So stupid.
Uh,
But yeah, so my Spider-Man No Way Home was my first movie since
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
yeah, it was my first movie since Sonic the Hedgehog. That was February
Of
two
2020, right?
years ago. Yeah, 2 years. Well, yeah,
Just about.
year ago, year and a half. Yeah, we saw. Ken and I saw
That's right.
Sonic.
Yeah, that's right.
Valentine's night. We went and saw it at the theater, and that was the last time I was at the movie theater. So,
Yeah, and like a month later, everything shut down too. Yeah.
yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was not even that far after. But what's crazy is like the
Hmm.
movie, like you were saying, like you went to see Shang-Chi, like movie theaters open then, and then like seemed like everything was kind of fine. And then when we just went last week, now it's all mask required again, and you know,
Yeah.
Omnicron and the Omnitrix, they're all trying to come
Yeah.
back.
No. I know.
Just-
It's literally on the rise again to like shut stuff down again. It's like
I know.
it's
I know. We
it's
went
crazy.
on we went on a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
No, was it Friday? No, it was
A
Friday.
Friday. You went on a
Friday
Friday,
night.
yeah.
It was a Friday night. Friday night should be busy time for
I mean, you were at the second to last or last showing of Friday night. Like,
uh
absolutely, it should have been packed.
4:30.
Yeah, something like that.
4:30. It was a 4:30 showing, Friday night, holiday weekend.
Right.
Saturday was Christmas. Holiday weekend. That's usually when theaters are busy, right?
Huge. They're always packed. Yeah, families are going.
And it's a major Marvel release too. It's like a major blockbuster.
Yeah, it's huge. It was huge.
And I think there was 4 people in front of us, and 2
Wow.
people on the right, and then 3 more people in front of them. So like, no.
That's it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So like 10 people all together type of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was crazy. But
That's
we
nuts.
got popcorn and stuff, so we were in there eating popcorn. And it kind of felt normal, like you can see
Sure.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. It's one of those things. You're in the seat. You're watching the movie. You bought the ticket. Like it feels normal, but at the same time, like it's not.
And what's funny to me, what's crazy to me is like to go to the theater when we saw Endgame and the crowd, like just hearing the crowd react to like
I know
Captain America and the Mjolnir. They just like that crowd reaction. And this movie should have had like major crowd reactions.
Yeah.
And I heard one gasp, and that was
really.
That was for Andrew Garfield, and it was like the person in front of me. Like when he first shows up, they were like, "Ah!" That was it. Nothing for Toby, nothing for Matt Murdock, nothing.
that person didn't expect them to be in the movie.
Not at all. Like, man, how did you? 2 weeks.
That was the same thing. It's funny you say that because it was Andrew and Toby's and one other thing. That was the only reaction I had in my eyes together. It was them appearing. Oh no! And there was 4 things I remember. It was what you did, the exact same thing. There was people going, "Yeah!" It was like 2 girls, like way off in the corner, were cheering for Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Yeah. And then it was when he saves MJ.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I could hear them like that like crying whimper noise that they sometimes will make, like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I heard that, and then the other one was
those. Oh.
And then the other one was when they all land before they do their trailer fight.
Dude, that's such
everybody was like, "Yeah!" That was going in.
Spider Bush.
Pretty much. It was pretty quiet.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because like that should have been a huge crowd movie. So yeah. So we'll talk about No Way Home, but before No Way Home, the Hawkeye series ended that week.
I know,
and that show had a pretty big reveal at the end of that no one expected.
No, I know. It was really weird how the thing I don't know, because obviously I don't sit and read like everything, but the thing I wondered was this was No Way Home was supposed to come out in July. I don't know when Hawkeye was supposed to come out. No idea. it has a whole bunch of Christmas elements to it. So maybe they always wanted it to be at the end of the year.
That's true.
But the thing that makes me think of just how perfectly timed it was okay, you have the movie came out on the 17th, so like the December 15th episode of Hawkeye shows at the very end Kingpin in the picture.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, oh, 2 days later is the movie release, and then they have you know they show Matt Murdock in that. So I was like, what are the chances that they would go and show this person here and this person here? Like the timing of all of that. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I didn't think that they were going to.
No.
I don't know, just to do that. They'll be like, here's Vincent D'Onofrio, and then 2 days later, here's Charlie Cox. It's like,
because the first episode of Hawkeye, you kind of get that visual of like the Echo was
the hand, right?
Yeah. And it's his voice. It's his voice. And you're like,
yeah, I didn't pick up on it when I first saw it.
That's a cool reference, but there's no way he's gonna be like in it.
Yeah, I know. In it,
time for Hawkeye to be like, well, I'm trying to do this and not raise the suspicions of like the big guy, and you're like, gotta be talking about
right. And then they show all the like verbiage for the companies, right?
Yeah.
And it's all like big guy and all that stuff.
The trust of bros,
right? Yeah.
Then the Tracksuit Mafia is kind of like one of Kingpin's like side like thugs,
Right. Right.
You're like, oh, I don't know. That would be pretty cool. But and then that second to last episode when Kate's like, apparently my mom hired Yolanda to kill you, and this is the guy who hired him. And he's like, oh,
right.
That's the guy I've been worried about the whole time. That's Kingpin. Like, oh no.
I know. It was weird. Yeah, it was really weird. So basically, honestly, up until episodes 1 through 5 of Hawkeye, I don't know what it was. I'm fine with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Jeremy Renner, like whatever. I don't hate his character. I'm not like invested in his character. I think what they did with him in the movies is great. He has a family.
Yeah.
And I was kind of happy in the beginning part that they were like, he's dealing with being pretty much like a villain in the beginning of Endgame, like he's terrible, right?
Yeah.
And I liked all that, and then all of a sudden I was like, man, this thing might be actually my favorite Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about it, but it was just like I enjoyed his hearing aid and just like how much he didn't care and. Like subtle depressing things and stuff like that,
like we say, like I say with every Disney Plus show is like, they announce WandaVision. I'm like, I don't know, I'll check it
out. Right.
Then they do Loki. I was like, I like Loki, I'll check it out. And like every single time they're like, this is so good. Like, this doesn't deserve to be this good. And like Hawkeye,
it really doesn't. Like, really honestly doesn't.
I don't love Hawkeye. He's not a main character, but
he's not like in the top 10 of my favorite Marvel heroes, like in the MCU. No, but this show like definitely moved him up for me. Like he's definitely much higher than what he was.
And I'm kind of a sucker for any movie that's like a passing the torch movie.
True. Yeah, that's true.
I really like Kate. I like Kate as a character in the show.
She's great in it. She's really, really good in it.
Really good.
I also, because it's nice that she has like the nice blend of him where it's like she's like, I don't know, they have like a really good balance of each other, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's like a father and daughter thing.
But the thing for me, and I know we might have different opinions on this, and that's okay. It's all right. It's the joy of America. But so WandaVision, right? Yeah. WandaVision has its little thing. Everybody doesn't really like the black and white episodes, but little stuff happens. It's interesting enough. And then it ends with her becoming the Scarlet Witch
Yeah.
and introducing the Darkhold and
Yeah.
Vision 2 and all the stuff, and like maybe hinting at Doctor Strange stuff. It was a big stuff was set up, right? Boom.
Yeah.
Falcon happens.
Oh yeah.
Right? US agent is presented. The winter.
Oh,
He's
wow.
no longer the Winter Soldier. He's now technically the White Wolf. They don't name the show that,
Right.
but that's basically what happens. They kind of flesh out some more Wakandan stuff, and
Yeah.
then, holy crap,
Falcon's
he becomes Captain America. Huge. I mean, it's gigantic. Then you move on to Loki.
There are things that really affect. They like really affect like the future of Marvel.
Huge effects.
Yeah.
So then Loki happens. And it's like Loki's off in its own thing. He has nothing to do with what's going on. He's time traveling. It doesn't matter what he's doing.
When you first start watching Loki, you're like, this is just gonna be like a fun like side piece, like funny, like Loki being mischievous,
yep.
and then it turns into like, oh, that's just the whole universe is changed.
Yeah, right. It completely changes, and now it's like they're essentially setting up the next Thanos. Like that's got to be what that guy is going to be. He's going to be the next Thanos.
Yeah.
They tap into the multiverse stuff and all these things, and then it ends with like that Planet of the Apes thing, right? He comes in, and now he sees the Statue of Liberty buried in the sand. Like, oh, it's like he sees that Kang has the timeline's already changed.
Yeah.
Big stuff. And obviously sets up for season 2.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then What If happens. What If goes through. And What If goes through. He's feeding the birds.
Yeah.
So What If happens. And, again, you think it's all self-contained. And then at the last episode, it all comes together. And then it's Misery, Doctor Strange, whatever you want to call him.
Oh,
Containing. He's not Ultron, but basically, what's his name?
Oh, I forget. He basically is Ultron. He's Ultron in Vision's body.
Zola.
Yeah.
Oh, like Zola, Ultron, and Killmonger, like Thanos, like are fighting each other, and he like contains them.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow,
cool.
This is cool. I'm like, perfect. So Hawkeye starts.
And like, it's gonna have no effect on the Marvel universe. Like it's it's just a standalone whatever.
Standalone thing, right? Yeah. And I was kind of like this. I was a little bit kind of disappointed with that. The What If stuff didn't tie harder into the MCU stuff.
Yeah.
Now that changed with the Doctor Strange trailer. That changed, but so up until that trailer was shown, so now Hawkeye starts, and I love it. Episodes 1 through 5, can't get enough of it. I think it's great. I love everything they're doing in the thing. And then episode 6 happened.
It's Marvel's Die Hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's Square Christmas. It's
the guy. He's getting too old for this. He's getting punched around. He doesn't like any of it. All that stuff. He can't hear, and he has like disabilities and all these things. It's wonderful. It's really, honestly, really good.
Yeah, because he's just
really good writing.
He's just a normal dude,
Normal dude.
That's why I love that scene where she's like, "Well, what made you lose your hearing?" And it's like all he's going through the windows, and there's explosions, and he's getting thrown into cars. Like, oh yeah.
He's like, who knows what it was? Who knows? So episode 6 happens. The series finale.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here we go. This is it. Without literally going beat for beat for it, like nothing happens. Yeah. Nothing really like impactful to the entire franchise really takes place. It's like, yes, he passes the mantle to her, but it's kind of like a one-off comment where he's like, hey, it would be a really good name. And then the show ends.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's like Hawkeye or Kingpin stuff was cool. But when you look at him from the Netflix point of view, like he's kind of cartoonish. Like when she was fighting him, really, he should have just killed her. He's not. He's a nasty person.
Yeah.
In comparison to the Netflix.
Well, they even kind of made him more comic booky because they gave him like that classic comic book look with like that Hawaiian shirt underneath.
With the Hawaiian thing. Yeah, I know.
But it's almost like they're setting him up in a way to be like where he's not like that bloodthirsty killer anymore.
Kind of. It seemed like that.
Because
Yeah.
whatever happened between like the blip, I don't know if he was gone or if he was. Seems like Ronan would have killed him if he was still there,
Probably.
but so whatever happened.
Yeah.
But now his whole thing is like, we need to show New York that I'm still in charge. Like I'm the one that's in charge.
Right. I think it's great to have him in the show. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
It's just like I don't know. It just didn't have any like heft to it. I didn't when that was ending. I was like, huh. You would think that they would really kind of like,
Yeah, and they did like 3 really dramatic things because like Kingpin's just a dude. I mean, he's just a big
right.
And he gets plowed by the car, and he's fine. He gets exploded by the grenade, and he's fine. And then the end, like, what is he get? They're implying that like Echo shoots him, and he's fine. There's no way he's dead. They didn't bring
no,
absolutely to be like, well, yeah, there's a 1 episode throwaway. Like, no,
that was it.
No, so it's like 3 really unrealistic things, and now he's going to show back up on something else. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine.
I'm fine. Yeah, and the other thing was
beat up in Daredevil pretty good too, but
oh yeah.
But
the other thing was the whole Yelena fight.
Oh,
she's so set on killing him, and then it's just that
I don't get her motivation.
I don't either. Right.
I really like her.
Me too. No, I think she's great.
She's really funny. I find her to be really enjoyable.
She's really perfect for the role. It just was like their whole fight thing on the ice thing, like just didn't.
Well,
it just didn't do anything for me.
She finds out that Kate Bishop's mom is the one that like is hired her to get rid of Hawkeye because he's a nuisance to Kingpin.
Right.
She's still like, okay, well, I'm still going to do it for my sister. Like, how does she not know what happened? Like,
right.
You're telling me that like the Avengers kept that quiet? Like they saved the universe and everybody knows they saved the universe, but at the same time,
well, that's
how do they not like give a grave to the
And that's what the thing is he says to her, like, your sister sacrificed herself, and she's like, nope, that's a lie. Which means she does know that's what happened, is that her sister sacrificed herself to save the universe, but she just doesn't want to believe it. So she decides to try to kill him for whatever reason.
It's almost like when he says, like, I tried to stop her, and she's like, well, you didn't try hard enough. It's like, he pretty much did. I mean,
yeah.
So it's like, I understand, like, her, being mad about that, but
like, no, I totally understand.
Go to the Avengers compound and ask like what actually happened. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you knew they were best friends. Like you knew, like her, Black Widow told her all about Clint. You knew they were best friends. Like, I don't know.
So that was like that's honestly. That was like my only issue is that last episode. It does a lot of cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
It shows that his wife was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, which we kind of figured.
Which we kind of put together. And that, like, Kingpin is like fully in the show, and the passing of the torch, like you said, and Yelena like eases off. But like other than that, nothing really impactful happens.
No.
And then
not really.
And then on top of it, instead of giving us something, they give us the full Broadway play of that, and I was like, okay, nobody was asking for that.
I think they must have had something else planned.
Maybe.
Like you and I were talking last night, and I was telling you like they wanted Daredevil like so bad for everything else, but they couldn't get anybody there for like shooting and like the original ending of WandaVision was supposed to be like Doctor Strange like showing up. It wasn't supposed to be her in the cabin, and like they couldn't get anybody on set because of COVID, and they couldn't film, so it was like they had all these plans for all these like really good things. So I assume that the end of Hawkeye had like something good planned, and they just didn't.
Maybe. The other thing I read too is all those guys are like legitimate Broadway actors.
Yeah.
Those are all people from actual Broadway. They're not like, just side actors. So they might have been to do the thing where they're like, well, we got these guys. Let's make them do something,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's pretty, I don't know. It's a funny throwaway thing in the beginning when you see it for the first time. And you're like, yeah, that sounds like something Broadway would do. Like,
Yeah, my cousin told me that, and I was telling him like I didn't enjoy episode 6. He said that he's like, yeah, it wasn't great. He says, but he says he said that he thinks that really the whole series was just supposed to be one of those like feel good like family
yeah,
holiday like
yeah,
movie
right.
or
Because
TV
it
shows.
it came out during Christmas. It takes place during Christmas. It's supposed to be like a family movie, family.
Right. And it's just like this stuff is happening. But I'm just so used to now, like everything that they've put out
Yeah,
since Endgame has been like, oh, this thing happens, and now it's leading to this thing, and then like that didn't happen in Hawkeye, and it felt like a big
yeah,
one.
yeah. I'm almost positive they had something big planned.
Probably, you're probably right. Yeah, they probably just couldn't do it, or who knows? Maybe they had something else going on. And
I've heard people online say like how like you and I were talking about the timeline is a little different. The
yeah,
you know, but like because No Way Home literally ends with Spider-Man swinging over the Rockefeller Center,
mm-hmm.
and Hawkeye ends at Rockefeller Center.
Yeah,
So like imagine if you saw the finale of Hawkeye before Spider-Man comes out, and you see like during the fight scene you see like Spider-Man swing
oh,
through, and it's like not the suit that we know. It's like the
oh,
comic suit, and you're like, what the heck is that? And then you don't learn until the end of No Way Home that it's like his new suit that he's like.
yeah.
I was like, that would be cool, but it's like you were saying. I think it's a couple years apart.
Yeah, I think it's put. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know for a fact. I read online that they said that Hawkeye is 2 years after Endgame,
You know,
and clearly No Way Home is only a year after Endgame
yeah, because it's right
because
after.
it follows right after Far From Home.
Yeah,
So I don't know. She says in the thing when Kate Bishop is talking to Yelena, she says, "Oh, you can go and see the new and improved Statue of Liberty."
yeah,
And the way I don't know how to take that because there's either the Captain America with the shield, could she mean that, right? Because that's what they're building in the
yeah,
Spider-Man movie. Or at the end of the Spider-Man movie, after the battle, they show the copper Statue of Liberty without the shield. They just show like all the construction
right.
tower is done. And it's like, is it new and improved that it's been cleaned to its original state? It's no longer green, it's copper again. Or, or is the shield attached to it? So it's like it doesn't really show where it is, but
Right.
reading off what the writers
What
said,
if
it's supposed to be a year after.
instead of the Broadway play at the end, what if it was Yelena showing up to the Statue of Liberty and the face of the statue is Thrawn or whatever?
Oh
That
wow.
would have been awesome, right?
Jeez. Wow. Kang, you're talking about Kang, her showing
Yeah,
up and it's Kang in the thing.
yeah, and it's like,
Wow, that would have
oh wow,
been
we're already in that universe.
that
That
would
would
have
have
upset
that
that
would
would
have
have upset
been
me
insane,
way
right?
too much.
Right. That would have been the big. You would have totally forgiven all the
Oh, I wouldn't have cared what they did in that movie at all. The whole show could have been them on Broadway and just show that. I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. That would have been pretty good, right?
That would have been pretty good.
Talk
Oh
about
my god.
Planet of the Apes.
She would have no idea. She'd be like, well, that's weird. Why did they do that to the statue?
The thing about the Netflix shows that I've really enjoyed is seeing the blip from other people's perspectives.
Right? Like, yeah, I know. And making the blip and making the what do they call it? So the blip is Thanos thing, and then the Hulk thing is called something else.
Oh, I forget.
They call it two different things, but anyways,
The incident.
like them coming back essentially.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see, where people were when they disappear, and then what was happening when they came back.
Yeah. Yeah, because the first time you see that is in WandaVision, right? With
Yeah, with the girl. Yeah,
yeah, she comes
I
back.
think I said it to you. Yeah, in the hospital. Yeah, she was with her mom.
Yeah.
But the thing I said to you was, that's what drew me back in. That's what got me back into the MCU. Because once
Yeah.
Endgame happened, I was like, I really just didn't. I didn't care what they were going to put out because I was like, man, they're not going to get better than Endgame.
No,
Endgame is
no.
Endgame, and that's it. I went and saw Spider-Man, and it was fine. I didn't dislike it. I didn't,
Oh yeah.
really super love it, but it was fine. It was okay.
Far from
And it
home.
was a little like it felt like a little end cap to Endgame, and it was fine. And then so WandaVision was coming out, and I was just like, I don't care about this. I don't care about it. I don't
Yeah,
care about it.
because the way that they like portrayed the trailer for those is like, well, it's going to be like a,
Right.
they're gonna like replicate old shows, and I'm like, that's
Right.
a cool concept, but isn't Vision A dead? And like,
Right.
if I don't understand,
Yeah, it didn't interest me. And then Adri was watching it, and she's like, "You got to watch it. It's weird. It's kooky. All this stuff."
no,
So I go, I watch it, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. It's neat." I said to her when we were watching it, I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize because some of the commercials they were showing,
yeah,
they were doing like weird things in the
they're like
commercials,
awful things from Wanda's childhood
from her childhood." And I
and
was like,
her adult life.
"That's
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting." But this is what got me to bring it back to what you were saying was they show I think her name is Monica Lambeau or whatever. It
yeah,
shows her getting like pieced back together
yeah,
after uh when Hulk brings him back.
yeah,
And she's in the hospital and it's like chaos. It's absolute chaos. And she's trying to find her mom, and you find out like your mom died like 3 years ago, type of thing. And
yeah. It's awful.
we don't got time to stand here and talk to you because we're getting patients that we thought were gone 5 years ago. They're coming back, all this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And when that happened, I was like, wow, what an actual like a really, really cool thing to do is to take a heroic moment, like
Yeah,
the moment that changes was like our Star Wars, right? Having Captain America stand there, he's gonna fight Thanos by himself, and then Sam comes in with the portals, and then they're all there. And it's like this is the moment we've all been waiting for as comic people, is like to have this, essentially like 2-page stretch of the Avengers attacking Thanos's army.
yeah,
And it was amazing. But to take that like goosebump feeling and then be like, yeah, but look what it did to the world. It made it awful.
yeah,
So it's like for the heroes, it was amazing. For everybody else, it was awful. And they explore that even more in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah,
And that's what made me latch back on in Disney Plus stuff, because they took something that was, when you watch Endgame, you applaud, you clap. And then when you
yeah.
watch the TV show, you're like, ooh,
Oh, yeah, because that whole thing, like you're saying, is awful because she literally is there in the hospital with like her mother dying,
right,
but she's the one that gets
taken.
taken,
Yeah,
and her mom doesn't turn to
yeah,
dust.
right,
So her
right,
mom dies without her daughter there, and then she
right.
gets brought back, and her mom's dead. So she gets to
Yep,
like lose her mom twice.
twice.
Now, even if they were both taken, they both
Right.
came back at the same time, and now it's like everybody's been dead for 4 years, but the Avengers saved everybody. It's like great. Now I get to watch my mom die again.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it sucks no matter what.
Oh yeah, no, it does. And that's what made it so interesting, to take like a heroic thing like that and make it kind
Yeah,
of bad.
make it terrible. Yeah, I know. Well, that's so they explore that right in Hawkeye when Hawkeye's doing stuff, and he'll occasionally we'll see the things that say Thanos was right, and it's just like
Does he have the
yeah,
coffee cup that
yeah
says
he's
it?
drinking. Yeah, it's almost like he's buying into it a little bit because like you would think he'd be like completely disgusted by that because losing Black
Yeah.
Widow, but he's drinking out of the mug and he doesn't really care about it. Even when he's at the urinal and he sees the thing on the wall that says Thanos is right, he's like, yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
it was bizarre. It's cool. It's cool that they what they do with it, and yeah, no. So it just leaves all of this year now. Now it's not next year. Now it's this year.
Yeah,
Um, what they're going to do for this year's Disney Plus shows and movies
yeah, I know.
is it's one of those things that like where I just want to know where they're going.
I
I'm
know.
interested to see what the next like Avengers movie is going to be about.
Well, I've learned my lesson now that when they announce something for Disney Plus, I'm not going to be like, I don't know, I'll check it out. I'm going to be like, oh yeah.
So I don't think I've talked about it with you, but if you look at it on paper, you can see where they're going with it.
Yeah,
So you have the 6 original Avengers, right?
no, yeah,
Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. Those are the 6 original guys in the 2012 movie. And now slowly, and they've only done it with 3 so far, and they're working on 2. 2 we know for sure, and 1 is a possibility. But they've already done it with 3, have replaced them.
Right.
So you got Falcon has replaced Captain America right now. Hawkeye is now being transferred to Kate Bishop, and Yelena is obviously taking up Black Widow's light.
And you could even say like Peter Parker kind of took on the Tony Stark mantle a little bit.
Now, I would agree with that, but the end of No Way Home totally gets rid of it. It totally. He now becomes Spider-Man. He's actually Spider-Man more than he's ever been.
I know, and I want to talk about the end when we get there because
I know.
I'll talk about it.
So those 3, right? Now we know this year we're getting She-Hulk, so she's going to replace Hulk.
That's a series on Disney Plus.
Right. And then Thor is establishing Jane Foster Thor
as Lady Thor.
Right. So she's going to be in it. And then they've talked about it, and Ironheart is coming. I don't know when Ironheart is going to come out, but that's clearly the person who's going to replace Iron Man. So it's really interesting, and it kind of seems like it's all ladies, which makes sense in this generation of things. Put them all women except for Sam Wilson.
The comic books did that too.
Yeah, and it's fine. It all makes perfect sense. I have no issue with it at all. But it's cool. It's like they're slowly
and it's
getting
more,
into their
and it's so more
you can see.
Not only is it more women, it's more diverse, right? It's like now you have like Shang-Chi and you have like Miles Morales will be coming.
Right.
You know, and Falcon as Captain America is the symbol of America. That's pretty impactful. Like that's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's really cool how they're doing it in such a slow way. So then when we get Avengers 5,
that's like
you know, like you're not going to be like, well, what the heck? You're going to be like, oh, nice, and they're all and now all of these other heroes that have their own backstories all come together, and now they fight a common threat. You know,
it'll be confusing for people who like haven't watched any of the Disney Plus stuff.
True, but
you know,
I feel like most hardcore people are watching the Disney stuff. So but so we can go on to Spider-Man because that's pretty much the Hawkeye stuff. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, that was great. That was a good show.
It was really good. Yeah,
and having D'Onofrio back is like a dream.
Crazy. I mean, it's really nuts to have any of the because I mean, all of that stuff happened pre-multiverse stuff with Doctor Strange. So it's not like he's multiverse Kingpin. He's Kingpin from Netflix.
So they're saying that it's the same character. Same character.
All that stuff that happened makes all the Netflix stuff canon and all of
it. The one thing that I do hope they don't do is I'm not saying that like Elena's story is that, but it's one of those things where like Black Widow came out after Endgame, and it's like, well, she's got her sister, and it's this whole story. And then you're like, well, why wasn't she there in Endgame? Why wasn't she there, helping out? And I was like, oh yeah, because she was gone at the blip. So I hope that doesn't become like a crutch where they start bringing in a bunch of like different characters and being like, oh, well, they were snapped.
Oh,
I can see that being like a scapegoat for a lot of like different things. To be like, well, they weren't there because whatever. Like,
I don't know. They kind of
never do anything like that. I don't think they will. I'm not saying they will. I just hope they don't.
It would be nice in a way. I think the only people I'd be okay with it, because otherwise, why wouldn't they? Is have the Netflix, like we'll call them the Defenders, have them be blipped.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense because that's how like Kingpin stayed relevant because the Netflix show ends with Daredevil really making sure that Kingpin goes away for the rest of his life, basically.
Right.
So if the Defenders got blipped, then no one's there to rein Kingpin in.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. I would like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so No Way Home.
I know.
That's pretty
That's crazy.
I don't even know where to start on that.
It's like it's a thing where it's like the movie definitely isn't better than Endgame because Endgame definitely had too much writing, right? Had too much going on, had too much of a backstory. But the thing is, though, Like if I just ranked it on MCU stuff, just where it is, it's pretty high. It's probably my top 5. No
Yeah,
Way Home.
easy.
But when you look at it from what it was actually able to accomplish,
No.
it almost makes it number 1. And the fact that they brought in characters not from other Marvel movies,
Yeah.
like, oh wow, Captain America and Iron Man, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are in the same movie.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not what happened.
That was a big
They,
thing
right, it
5
was
years ago.
huge.
That was huge,
Huge.
5 years ago. Like we're past that now. That's,
We're way past that.
no.
It's now like, hey, remember this guy who was in this movie 20 years ago that doesn't have anything to do with these movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, he's back in this movie. Oh, and also are his villains. Oh, and also his suit and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know. That's crazy. I just like, it's another one of those things. Like if we were talking about it last night, if you were talking to your like, well, I don't know how old I was, like your 15-year-old self watching Spider-Man, like, hey man, in almost 20 years later, when you see this movie, he's gonna show up again, but he's gonna be out of context and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
There's
these
gonna
movies
be,
are gonna be so bigger than you can imagine.
you're like, yeah, after this movie, there's gonna be a Spider-Man that comes out that you like, but you don't really enjoy. And then after that,
Right.
the Spider-Man that you love is actually owned by Marvel, actually owns, the rights to
Right.
use it. And then all of them are gonna be in a movie together. Like, what? No way.
Yeah, that alone is just, you can say whatever you want about the movie, about like plot holes and stuff like that. That alone, just having those actors be in it again,
Yeah.
it honestly, it opens the door to everything. It really, it's like, why can't you just have this random other actor be in the movie? There he is.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's like, it's one of the few times, I know it's not going to happen. I'm almost dead sure that Hugh Jackman isn't going to come back.
Oh, don't. Yeah, I know that would be.
But
Yeah.
like now, why, like if Hugh Jackman, if he hadn't personally accepted and requested retirement from the franchise, if they just kind of wrote him out and said, here's the new cast of X-Men, and
Yeah,
Hugh
but
Jackman was just a floating thing.
from Fox's cast though, not
Right, that's what yeah. That's what I mean. Like, you easily could be like, well, why can't they just bring in Hugh Jackman for a movie?
If anybody can get Hugh Jackman to come back for Wolverine, it's going to be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So
And he hasn't gotten him to come back yet,
Oh, I
which
know.
makes me think, he's not coming back.
well, it's because it takes a toll on his body every time he.
Well, sure. I mean, the guy's probably in his like mid-50s on top of it, so I'm sure he doesn't really want to keep doing that type of stuff. But and the nice thing is too, they're doing it again. It's not like, I'm not trying to get into this copy fest thing, but they're doing it with the Flash movie. They're bringing back Michael Keaton for Batman.
Flashpoint, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a thing where like you didn't think you'd ever see that stuff. We live in the world of nostalgia, but it's like hit and miss with that stuff.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, here's this guy, here's this movie, and you're like, oh, and you go to see it, and you're like, this is garbage.
Sometimes
like,
they throw too much at you.
Yeah, and other times you're like, wow, they really hit it out of the park. And I feel like No Way Home is the closest they've ever done to like peeling back the layer of nostalgia. Like, hey, remember this? They do it like to the point where it makes sense. They don't just try to throw something in there to throw it in there so that audiences, clap because he's doing the same thing.
They're not cramming it down your throat. They're explaining the storyline based on the
exactly.
Story. The story is what it is. It's
that was the biggest, and that was my biggest contention going into this film was I'm excited that these guys are coming back, but don't make these guys goofy and weird and silly because it's like a happy-go-lucky Spider-Man movie, and it's like those two Spider-Men from those movies are broken men. They're not okay.
Yeah, and now the new one, Tom is kind
of. And now
he's
broken, right? Yeah. He's very broken, and that's what I like about it is that they because when you watch like Homecoming and you watch No Way Home, they're very silly.
Yeah, he's a goofy,
they're goofy, and that's fine. I'm not like upset that they're like that. It's just I just didn't want Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire to show up and then be like, oh, whatever. Because when you watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's like the death of Gwen Stacy's
Yeah.
dad like haunts him through the whole movie. Remember they show Dennis Leary and
Yeah.
he's just like he's always judging him, and then she dies, right?
Yeah.
And that devastates him. And then you watch Spider-Man 3, that movie doesn't end, which I was surprised. I totally forgot. So all the Venom stuff, Harry dies, Sandman flies off into the city. That's how that movie ends
Yeah.
with the battle. It cuts to Mary Jane and Peter in like a club or something, like in a bar,
Oh,
and
and
they're
then
dancing. And it's like, yeah, yeah. And it's like, hey, we'll get through it. We'll manage. We'll do it. And then they both make faces where it's just like, hmm. Like they're kind of just like sad of the where they are in life. And
yeah.
then the credits roll. There's
Yeah.
no happy Spider-Man swinging through the city.
No.
There's no go get 'em tiger. There's none of that. It literally ends with them being sad dancing with each other.
Well, yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 ends like that too, where it's not, a swinging through the city scene. It's
Right. He's back fighting Rhino. No big deal. No
yeah.
big deal that all these people are dead. And that's okay. And they touch on
But
that in this movie.
yeah, I mean, he kind of pulls himself together because he didn't want to do anything, and then he kind of realized that somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, he's got to move on. He moves on, and then obviously he doesn't do it like overnight. They show seasons go by and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's fine. I don't, but that's what I mean. That's how you expect a movie like Spider-Man to end: is him to go up to the young boy and be like, "Hey, thanks for helping me out here, son," and then fight the Rhino, and it's like Spider-Man. Like that's how you expect it to end. And Spider-Man 3 doesn't
They
end
always do
like
the
that.
classic like swinging around the pole, and then it's like he does the
Yeah,
that's how it ends.
right, exactly. So when that movie ended and they're like, "Here comes Tobey Maguire in this movie," I was like, he cannot be like, "Oh wow, guys, I'm so happy to be here." Like he's miserable. Yeah, right, exactly. And I was so happy that he was himself, and they touched on stuff. And when they brought up MJ to him, he said things like it's complicated. And it was really good. I really, really enjoyed it.
What I found fascinating about the plot of the movie is like you see the trailer, you see that the villains are going to be in the movie, but what their motivation is or what how they're going to be right is a mystery until you see the movie.
Right.
First
Yes,
time
sir.
Doc Ock shows up, and
Okay.
as soon as he starts talking, I'm like, he's exactly where he left off in the first
Yeah.
movie. It's right before he dies because
Yes, before he has the moment with Peter. Yeah.
he shows up on the bridge and he says, "What did you do with my machine?" I went to the dock and it was gone. My machine is gone. So he's like immediately same, I think he said
Yeah.
later on in the movie, like the last thing he remembers is he had Peter
Peter.
Parker by the neck. And it's right before Peter Parker like talks him into like destroying the machine.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I was like, oh my God, it's like right after the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right there. It's right there. Picking up right from where those movies left off. And I didn't expect that for whatever reason.
Which explains why, which is nice because it explains why he's sore. Like he's mad and he's mean, but he's also like on an area where he's kind of like able to say to turn and be passive. Because
Yeah.
Toby's able to say to him, like, "Hey man, like we don't got to do this," and he's like, "You know what? You're right. We don't have to." And then he stops it from happening.
I mean,
He destroys the machine.
what I enjoyed is all the classic villains said their classic lines again.
Yeah.
So Doc Ock, he says, listen to me now.
Listen to me.
And,
Yeah.
what is the goblin say?
I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
He does say that line. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What's the thing? What is the thing the goblin always said to him? When the mask talks to him, it's like the same thing that he always used to say.
Oh, yeah. All I can think is Peter. That's all I can think. Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah,
super good. So he's he's fighting Doc Ock on the bridge, and he's and then right as he's got that kind of under control, here comes a friggin' pumpkin bomb.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
And to see it, and he flies at him, and Yeah, I don't know. It was crazy.
I expected Doctor Strange to be in the movie a lot more than he was too.
Yeah, kind of me too. Yeah, but it does kind of make sense. It's kind of nice that like not let it be a Doctor Strange movie. It's more of a Peter, Spider-Man story, which was nice.
I like
That's
how
something.
Peter Parker was able to defeat Doctor Strange with basic math.
Yeah, yeah, that was
That's really
interesting.
cool. It's like, yeah, Doctor Strange is in the mirrored dimension and he's, a sorceress and but that's basic geometry and
I know.
it's
I
super
love that whole thing of really opens up the like to think about because like when the Ancient One hits Doctor Strange,
oh,
right? Kablam! And then it's like Doctor Strange, and he's just like, "What did you do to me?" And then Ancient One does it to the Hulk in Endgame, and it's Banner, and he's
oh,
talking and all this stuff.
that's such a cool scene, dude.
But then he does it to Spider Man,
And he goes to
and
grab
it's
the box.
really showing. Good.
He goes to grab the box and
Yeah, yeah,
even like without like Peter's like consciousness in the body, the,
yeah,
the spider sense, you see like it's the first
yeah.
time
You can see
him,
the things.
you
Yeah,
can see like the little wavy
the
things.
comic, like the comic waves. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
And
and
he's
the thing that was cool about it is it
so
really
good.
is. Yeah, they were showing that like I mean they're really setting up the idea that like his spider sense is basically like astral projection. Like it's a thing where he's able to like he can sense things. It's not like it's I don't know. It's not like a quick reflex, which is what I always believed
Yeah.
spider senses were, right? Like he just is like, whoa, he senses it coming before because he's got like 8 eyes type of thing or
Right,
whatever,
right,
10
right.
eyes.
Yeah.
But in this thing, it's literally like he's able to perceive like I don't know, just like whatever all that astral projection stuff for Doctor Strange is. Like he's in that his spider sense like lives in the Doctor Strange world, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was super cool. I love that scene. And like as soon as they were showing it, I was like, what are they trying to, and then you see like the thing. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
And the other thing is too, if you think about it, Peter is the only person to come back to it.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange, Stephen, when he gets punched out in the movie, he doesn't. She brings him back. Hulk when she brings Banner back too.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? She brings back uh, Banner to the Hulk too, but not in this. Peter, he like swims back to his body.
Right.
Like that doesn't happen, which shows that like Peter has control over that like realm. He's that's why he says also, this is amazing. I feel amazing. I love this. He likes it's a cool feeling. I don't know. It's a cool little
Yeah.
thing to have him do. Yeah,
That was
I
pretty
enjoyed
good.
it.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just cool to see that like on the live action, you know, because like they've kind of hinted at like his spider sense a few times, but to actually see it and then they, when all the Peters get together later,
Oh yeah,
and they're all like you guys get that tingly thing too.
yeah. I have the tingle thing.
Yeah. So that's so
Yeah,
so then like that, right, when they all kind of get together, it's it's Ned basically being force sensitive and being able to use the sling ring,
yeah.
and he's like, yeah, show me, find me Peter Parker, and like you see him in the alleyway, and he's like,
Really love it.
he kind of like turns around, and he's like, what? And he like comes in, and when he comes in, it's Andrew Garfield's suit.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. I was like super excited in the theater. I was like, that's
I
Andrew.
know.
I knew who it was, before he even took the mask off.
Oh yeah, like the whole the whole interaction with them and like him talking to MJ and Ned and like crawl on the ceiling and
Yeah.
he's like when he's hanging and he's like no this is enough and they're like it's not enough and she's throwing the bread at him and he's
And he's
just
like, why are you throwing bread? And he's like, you're
yeah
supposed to dodge it. You're supposed to be able to sense it. And he's like, I'm not threatened by it. It's bread. And then he does it
yeah
again, and now it's Toby Maguire, and he's not in costume. He's
right
He's like, yeah, I saw that what was going on the news, and I thought maybe you could use my help. But like you were saying, like when they showed up, they are the same mannerisms, same acting, same character.
Oh yeah.
Even Toby Maguire, right? He does his classic like his little wave, like did he, it's so good.
Yeah. It was cool. It was honestly, it was really enjoyable.
And
And
I
I
love,
enjoyed like when Sandman shows up, he like saves Peter, right, from
right,
Electro. And I enjoyed that because at the end of Spider-Man 3, he's they're on good terms essentially, and he's not a bad guy really anymore. It
yep,
was really it was nice. I really enjoyed, and then they take Sandman out first at the battle, so
yeah,
that like him continuously fighting them like doesn't make sense. Like why would he keep fighting him? He doesn't really he's okay with what's happening. He just is mad. He just wants to go back now. So
yeah,
don't have him fight forever. Take him out pretty quick.
yeah.
It
He
was
just,
a little weird for him to wanting to crush and suffocate Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man a little bit, just because why you're not as villainous as these other people, but whatever.
yeah, I know that is true. I think they just really wanted to go home.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, I don't know. It was
But when they show up at the school to find Tom, they're you see their silhouette, and it's like
yeah.
they're both silhouetted up on the top of the peak. It's like so cool, so cool.
I know, yeah, right? Yeah, I know. Showing them like hanging onto the side, and he's like they have like the crouch in the stand, and yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
and then
Yeah, that was really
then
cool
they
too.
try to like talk to him a little bit, and he gives you that classic, well, you don't know how I feel. You don't have any idea how I feel, and they're both like, yeah, we pretty much know exactly how you feel.
Yeah, they do know, but it was nice that they didn't just like cram it down his face like, well, my
Yeah,
guardian died too, type of thing. Like,
yeah, yeah. And, like I didn't expect Aunt May to die in there.
yeah, no, I didn't at all. No, because you figure they don't really touch on it in Homecoming. He mentions Uncle Ben, but he don't really say anything. And so I just thought, it's just the Uncle Ben story. Just we didn't need to see it 12 other times. We've seen it already. He's dead. But
Right.
then they did this, and I was like, oh, this. But the cool thing is too is when you think about it, is I can't think of the old actor who plays him in Tobey Maguire, but Tobey Maguire, he dies, Uncle Ben, and then he becomes Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And then Uncle Ben, Martin Sheen's Uncle Ben dies in Amazing Spider-Man, and he becomes Spider-Man.
Right.
And to this point, it was like, yeah, he is Spider-Man,
Right.
but he's really more of like Tony's protege.
Yeah.
And then Aunt May dies, and then he actually, stuff happens, but he is like actual Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I love the ending of the movie, right? Is
Yeah.
because it's been a thing the whole time where he's got all this cool tech, and he's like the ultimate Spider-Man because of Tony Stark.
Right, exactly.
He's never just the first movie there, Tony Stark's telling him like, you just need to be like a regular everybody's like neighborhood Spider-Man. But
Right.
he can't, because he's got all the tech. He wants to be part of the Avengers. And now this movie ends with him realizing that he doesn't kill the Green Goblin. He does what Aunt May wanted him to do. And then he sees his friends in the cafe, and he, right before he's about to like tell them, he sees the Band-Aid on her head, and it's him realizing, if I
Yeah.
tell them who I am, I'm just going to continue to hurt them.
Right.
And he
Yep.
comes to that conclusion that I'm not going to hurt my friends anymore. And now he goes off
Yeah.
his own crappy apartment in the Bronx,
I know, right?
and
Man.
then he makes his own suit on the sewing
See,
machine, and now he's Spider-Man. Like he is.
he is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And the thing too, I was thinking is like, they obviously don't want to show you the suit, like at the end. But I was
Yeah.
thinking it kind of felt like it was the merging of the two suits. Like he had taken
Yeah.
ideas from Toby and
Yeah.
Andrew's suit
That's
and like had put them together.
that's how I felt. I felt like not only is that like the classic red and blue
Right.
for Spider-Man, but also it's like now that he's met these two other Peters and they're like best friends and essentially brothers,
Right.
he's paying homage to both of them by making a suit that looks like both of theirs.
Like theirs. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was really
It's so cool. It's such a good call.
yeah. It was really nice. Now, honestly, whatever they go forward with, like that's the Spider-Man thing I want to be on board for. You know what I mean? Because like this was great, but like now I feel like whatever we get, that's like going to be an actual like no Iron Man nonsense. No,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
I know.
him. It's like he is Spider-Man. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Avengers and Tony Stark stuff has gave us some really cool
Oh
Spider-Man.
yeah.
But
No,
now
I mean,
I
I love his old eyeball thing. Right? I love that. That's the best thing they've ever done with a Spider-Man suit in the movies is
to have
give
him
him character.
have him just be classic like Spider-Man, like he's an adult now and he's just
Right.
yeah, super good.
Yeah. Now he's in college, like he is. I don't know. It's honestly the best like soft reboot you could ever want for a character. I mean, really.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the thing I was thinking about too is like I think in the comics, like Civil War 2 is Captain Marvel and Iron Man or somebody else in Captain Marvel.
I think so.
And I was thinking like you literally could have the secret identity crisis again with Peter.
Yeah.
Like you could have that issue arise again because nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love that. I love the scene too of all three of them being, science nerds and doing science stuff.
Yeah. Did you see the meme?
I think so.
So Ned says he goes, oh, he's trying to tell Tom Holland that one of the experiments is done, and he goes, Peter, and they all three of them look,
yeah,
and he goes, oh, Spider-Man Peter, and they're like, that's still which one? And they all start pointing at each other.
yeah,
I'll do like
yeah,
this. That's what they're doing. I was like, nice.
That's really funny. Yeah, yeah, and I was interested to see like how much of like their original characters they were going to keep. If they were just gonna completely just forget about the whole like wrist fluid, like just if they were just gonna.
I know.
But for them to start explaining web cartridges, and Tobey Maguire to be like, "What are web cartridges?"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I didn't think they were gonna keep that stuff.
Oh, they yeah.
I was like, they didn't pull away from any of the stupid stuff that everybody hated.
No, not at all.
They just embrace it because, like, dude, it's a different universe. It's a different,
Yeah.
They're basically like explaining it like Tobey Maguire in that scene. He's like, well, I fought an alien once. And Tom Holland's like, yeah, I fought an alien in space and on Earth, but he was purple. And then Andrew Garfield is like, I fought a Russian guy in a rhino suit once. Yeah, I'm not as cool as you guys. And Tobey Maguire's like, no, you're amazing. You're amazing. I'm like, dude, this is too freaking good, man.
It was really, really good.
It's too
and yeah, and like Andrew Garfield being grossed out. Like he sticks on the scene long when he's looking at Toby after he shoots the web out of his hand, and he's just looking at him like, oh, like what?
And they don't want to ask him about it, but they do. They're super curious, but they don't want to.
Like, does it come out of anywhere else? And he's like, not that I know of, or whatever he says. Not yet. That's what I've seen, or whatever. God, that was so good.
And then just having like the classic villains back. There's William Dafoe he's amazing in anything. I mean, he just, like you said, it's been 20 years. And he's just like,
right. Oh. And that was like beat for beat. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Been 20 years, and William Dafoe's like, let's see, Green Goblin. Oh yeah. And he just like immediately goes right back into it, like without missing a beat. He's just, he's Osborn again. It's insane.
He's right back at it. I know. It was really, when he was in the alleyway and he was getting rid of the mask and the mask is talking to him, I was like, you're literally watching a scene from the original Spider-Man movie. Like,
oh yeah,
it's the same exact thing. Now, it's like,
what's cool about that scene is when he walks away from the mask, it is completely reversed of when Tobey Maguire walks away from his suit in the dumpster.
Oh wow.
When Toby walks away from his suit, he's on the left and the dumpster's on the right hand. And then when the Green Goblin does it, it's right and he walks away on the left. So it's like the same shot of them both walking away from their stuff.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, and like I was telling you, it took them 4 different movies before to do Green Goblin and Hobgoblin, and this movie they're like, no, we do both. He starts off as the Green Goblin, and by the end he's got the purple hoodie and the green jacket, and it's all tethered, and he's got his hood.
And him on the glider after he's essentially killed Aunt May, and he's like, and he's got the little he pushes the pumpkin bomb thing. Just like him with the hood up and that smile, and I was just like, man, talk about getting the comic accurate stuff going on. Yeah,
nailed it, man.
So I'll start with I only have a couple things with it, and I'll start with the most insignificant thing is Tobey Maguire getting stabbed, and then he's totally fine.
This is the section that we call Will's gripes.
Yeah. So Tobey Maguire gets stabbed and he's totally fine, and I don't understand that.
Right.
He gets like shanked in the back, and then it's just like all set. And I'm like,
what does he say? Well, it's all right. I've been stabbed before.
I've been stabbed before is what he says. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but it was just I just thought it would be a little more hefty. I thought they were gonna have him die, to be honest.
Yeah, I did too.
So that not that big of a deal, is it? So the second biggest thing is they say Doc Ock is like, oh, Norman Osborn is the Goblin.
Right.
And he's like, oh, you're chasing ghosts, and he died years ago and all this stuff. And it's like, how does he know that he's the Goblin? No one knows that he's the Goblin.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And Sandman says, oh, it was in the news. It's like, okay, then why does Harry not know who his dad is?
No, because Harry's an idiot. We've already discovered.
Right. But it was just like in the movie, only Peter knows that he's the Goblin. He has to like hold on to that secret. So it was kind of weird that Doc Ock knew that he was Norman. And also the Sandman knew he was Norman. It was bizarre because only.
It's almost like like the Sandman's line is like a throwaway line they added in later to be like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, he was in the newspaper.
You're right, yeah. So that was just kind of weird. It was weird because I don't know. But the number one gripe was Electro.
Yeah.
I don't understand a lot. I understand why they didn't make him blue and crazy and all that. I get it because Jamie Foxx probably didn't want to come back as some weird loser that everybody made fun of in that movie. I get it. You want to come back as a cool character, but it just didn't make sense. Because even like when you think about it, when you watch that movie and then watch him here, he acts all like too cool for school in this movie, and in the other movie, he's like out of his mind. He's crazy.
Yeah,
he's out of touch with reality.
The movie ends with him going into like the mainframe, like as like the actual current of electricity.
And then and then they say how does he know Peter Parker? He even thought Peter was black. Like it's like that's the thing. That's just the thing that upsets me is like you spend all this time making Doc Ock and Green Goblin and Dr. Connors and Sandman like wow, they're just like they were in the other movie. And then you get to Electro and it's like, no, he's not like how he was in the other movie. And you're like, why?
I think because the directors along with the fans want to not remember anything that happened.
Not remember how terrible it was.
But yeah, like you said, he doesn't even know he's Peter Parker. And the whole like spell is cast based on like everybody who knows who Peter Parker is.
Right.
But even when Doctor Strange is trying to like capture, contain at the end there, you see like
those silhouettes.
Craven the Hunter, and you see like Rhino. They don't know who Peter
somebody
Parker
else, right? It was somebody else too. Was it like a Black Cat or somebody, or like what's the girl in the video game? She makes you do all these stuff for social media.
Oh, not Task. God, what is it?
Yeah, it's like Trickster, but it's not. But it's like it's like that. But anyways, it would look like Black Cat or her
That's
like silhouette.
the
Yeah,
only two that stood out to me was Craven and Rhino.
the Rhino guy. Yeah, the Rhino guy was, but he was like animated series Rhino. He had like the gray thing with the big horn. He was,
Yeah,
yeah, it was cool.
yeah, it was cool. But yeah, so that's kind of one of those. It's like, yeah, well, whatever. You know, him
Oh,
knowing
you never know. Honestly, who knows? Who knows what comes about of it? You never know. Because this is the thing. I had a big issue
because
with.
it could be Doctor Strange's spell, but it could also be the multiverse failing too. Like
Right.
you don't know.
And that was the thing I had a big issue with. I was thinking about it, but then I read online and I said, "Oh, I guess that makes sense." Was my other person being in the movie was Venom? How is Venom in the movie? And
Yeah, at the end there,
right, and I was like, "Well, he doesn't know Peter is Spider-Man,
but we don't even know what universe he's even from.
right?" But and they do, and it's intentional. And I understand. I read this online after I saw the movie. Is in the Venom, well, whatever. Let There Be Carnage ending. The thing, he's like, "Hey, Eddie," um, he's talking to him. The Venom, the symbiote's talking to him, and he says, "We have a hive mind of like
Oh,
millions and millions and millions of things."
that
And he's
that
like, "How would you like to experience the hive mind?" And he gives Eddie like a taste of it, and as he's doing it, he shifts into the MCU universe.
wow.
So it's basically saying that like the Topher Grace Venom suit or any incarnation of the
There's
symbiote
that same
knowing
alien DNA.
like knows he's Peter Parker and that's why he gets sucked in.
Interesting.
But the best thing to come out of that is of trying to bring in the stupid Tom Hardy stuff into this. The best thing about that was having his symbiote thing stay,
On the bar.
and now you can have Tom Hardy. You can have the suit come on and have Tom Hardy voice it because that's he does
Oh,
the voice for the Venom stuff.
that would be
So
perfect.
it's honestly right. It's the best thing you could ever want from it because now you can have the black symbiote suit, but have it be actual like a good movie, but still have it be Tom Hardy talking, doing like the "Hey Peter," blah 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 whatever.
And imagine that too, because like the well, it's not PS4 anymore, but like the Sony Spider-Man game, the second one's coming out, and
Oh
that
yeah,
they've already showed like Venom is like one of the main bad guys in it. Him, it's Peter and Miles, and
yeah.
so that'd be sweet. There's so many good Spider-Man things happening. It's like cool to be a Spider-Man fan again.
I know, right? Yeah, I
It
didn't
hasn't
think we'd
happened in
live
a
in a
while.
time when that would come back, being like a 15-year-old kid again. And
Yeah, I don't know.
gosh, if you had told me when I saw Avengers 1 in 2012 that they were like, hey, they're gonna bring in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man for these movies, I would have been like,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
If and when we first saw like the first Avengers movie, if you were to tell me like that I would see a live action version of the Iron Spider-Man, oh,
Mm-mm.
I said, you're crazy. They're never gonna have that.
I know.
What did you think of his newer suit where it's like
Oh, like with the gold part.
it's the advanced suit and then it's like the spider is like the robots. They're
I liked it a lot because doesn't he give him isn't like a Dr. Ock thing, he's giving him like 8 legs or something, isn't like intentional,
I think I didn't really
right?
look
Because
at
I
it.
think he has like the middle thing, and then he has like 1, 2, 3, 4 on his normal suit, and then Doc Ock gives him the gold legs, and now it makes it 8.
I can see that.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like a yeah. I thought that's what happened. I could be wrong.
And it took me forever to realize what was going on with the black suit. Is just
Oh, it's the
he
reverse.
like turned it inside out.
Yeah,
Or he had
if you remember Homecoming when Ned is taking apart he's trying to get rid of the what did Tony call it?
the safety
Training wheels.
training mode. Yeah.
He takes off the training wheels. If you look, he has like the suit reversed and are like pulling the things apart. It's just the inside out of the suit.
So that's really funny then, because like when you actually look at it, you can see that it's like the circuit board, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like the circuit board, and he's got like wires, and it's like
Yeah, it's all sticking
telling me
out.
like that is like rubbing against his skin the whole time he's wearing it underneath. Like,
It probably keeps aware of his like metrics and stuff, and like if
yeah,
he's injured and stuff like that.
I almost thought that it was like a two-layer suit where he took the red part off and that was what was underneath, like all the electrical stuff underneath. I didn't realize that he like turned it inside out until like later on.
Yeah. I also thought was really cool was when he rips Doc rips the nano stuff off.
Oh
He
yeah,
uses he puts the nanotech on, which it is in the movie. His arms are nanotechnology.
yeah.
He puts it on, and then when he goes to kill him with the spike, it like comes down from
Or
his
the nano,
head and
yeah,
makes the suit again, so he doesn't get essentially killed.
yeah,
Yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed how that stuff works.
yeah. I do too. That was really cool, and that gave you like a good way of like him controlling the arms. Like so
Yeah,
immediately took Doc off of it because he's one of the bigger threats, honestly.
oh yeah. I mean, he's hard to contend with. Yeah,
Although it seems like Electro is kind of like impossible. You can't, you can't grab him with web. You can't get close to him.
yeah,
So I don't know. So yeah, that was a pretty sweet movie. Pretty sweet. I can't wait to buy.
yeah. I don't know. It was more than I didn't think. I don't know. I didn't think it was gonna be bad. I didn't think it,
Yeah.
and I just kind of went in thinking, let's hope it's all right.
Well, the directors like before the movie even got released, they came out and they said, "Well, we just really hope that fans don't like hype it up too much before they see it." And then you go to see it, it's exactly what like all the hype was. It's like,
I know,
when was the last time you remember seeing a movie in theaters that had so much like hype, and then you saw it lived up to
and
the
it paid off.
yeah. Not only did it live up to it, but it also gave you stuff that like you weren't even hyped about, like seeing Daredevil, that scene with Daredevil dude at the beginning, awesome. Seeing him
Yeah,
in live action with those, and what I really love about that scene is like, he's sitting, his back is to the window, and it swing when that brick comes through. Matt Murdock grabs it. You see that like Peter Parker had his hand like ready to catch it too, but like
right.
Matt caught it before he did. So like
I know.
he's like, "How did you?" He's like, "I'm a really good lawyer."
I'm really good at it. Yeah, I know.
But that means that like Daredevil's senses are on par with Peter Parker's senses.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hearing the brick coming and all that stuff.
Yeah, him catching it, and he totally could have just let Peter catch it.
Oh yeah,
Like he knows that Peter,
but it's a thing where he doesn't know exactly what Peter can do. He knows kind of what Peter can do. So yeah.
exactly.
Hey man, honestly, now what we can get is classic suit Spider-Man like fighting with Charlie Cox on Daredevil, like more comic stuff.
I know, I know. I hear they want him in like a bunch of stuff. They're planning on putting him in tons of stuff.
I mean, I would if I was them. I'd put him in everything. He's an underutilized hero that's been around for years.
And he's a really good actor for being like this
Yeah,
dude that they put in the Netflix. He's so good. He's good as
yeah.
both.
And then on top of it, like Daredevil isn't in the comics. Daredevil isn't like a background character.
No,
He's just up there with like Spider-Man and the rest of them.
the main dude. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's so. The thing that I really enjoyed about the Spider-Man character, both of the characters, is like they both kind of get their redemptions.
Yeah, they really do.
So,
Yeah,
like Andrew Garfield catches MJ, and it's like the super emotional scene where it's like he couldn't do it before, and you see that he learned from his past mistake where he doesn't try to use his web, and he like
no.
he jumps off the edge with more like force.
Yeah,
He gets to that piece of rubble, he like grabs it and pushes off of that too to like propel himself further. Because before, like in the clock tower scene with Gwen, he
yeah,
like he tries to like spin around it and avoid it, and then he like goes to grab her.
right.
It's like he uses it as its momentum, and he catches.
Yeah, I think too when he jumps off the scaffolding, I think he also uses the web. I think he does like like a
Yeah.
slingshot thing too. I think I don't remember.
So that's
It's gonna be that this movie is gonna be one of the few times like Endgame where I go back and I'm like, all right, we watch 20 minutes of this and we break it down minute to minute because
yeah.
there's certain stuff in this movie that they do at the end of the Statue of Liberty that I could watch 20 more times.
Yeah.
Just that fight scene.
Well, when they first start fighting, none of them have ever fought in a group. Well,
I know that was so
Tom's fought with the Avengers, and they don't even know what the Avengers are because in their universe they have no other
oh,
heroes.
that was hilarious. I love
So
that.
they're all like bumping into each other, and they're all getting like
Shooting
mixed
together,
up.
yeah.
And Tom's like, "We got to work as a team. I know how to work as a team." And then they do the classic where they all kind of swing around and they all like do their land and they do like their traditional poses.
Yeah, yeah.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. I know, no, I know. That was cool too because I think when they're swinging around to land on the thing, like they don't they doesn't like Tom like shoot and then they like grab onto it so he can swing
That's a
more?
little bit later in the fight scene. When,
Oh, okay.
I think Tobey Maguire has the injector thing for Sandman, and he like jumps out and grabs it, and then Tom Holland like whips onto the back of Toby and like uses his momentum to like pull him back and go past him. They kind of all like attach to each other at some point to like use that as like a momentum thing. So good.
I know.
So good.
And that scene like you're talking about to get is it the Sandman thing? It must be the Sandman thing, like to get it to Toby when he's like he gets the Andrew Garfield gets he distracts Electro and they do like the slow motion thing and he's like throwing the thing to Tom Holland and yeah,
through the top of the tower. Yeah, super good.
It's good. It's good stuff.
And then Tobey Maguire gets his kind of redemption by saving Norman.
Yeah,
He's in in the first Raimi movie, it ends with him like thinking he finally got through to Norman and wanting to save him because he's kind of like his father figure.
well, if yeah, I mean, if you really peel back the layer, Norman is the only one that technically Peter ends up killing. Technically,
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't stop the glider. He jumps over the glider.
right? They're fighting each other, and then Norman tries to kill him, and he jumps over, and then his action ends up instead of killing himself, it kills Norman. And but like Doc Ock, he like has a heroic moment. He destroys the machine, and he dies.
Right.
And it's like Harry fights with Peter at the end of the movie, and then he dies, not because of Peter. So the only one is there is Venom, right? He saves Eddie Brock from it, and then throws the pumpkin bomb to destroy the symbiote. But Eddie goes back into it. Eddie chooses to go back in.
Right. That's right.
And he dies. And then Sandman, he forgives Sandman, and Sandman flies away. Yeah. So it's like really only Norman, like it's their interaction that causes Norman's death.
Yeah, I know, and I love that at the end when they finally cure him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wow, Peter, you grew up."
Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it was good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so that was a great movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I could go right now and watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Well, that kind of wraps it up. That's Hawkeye and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Do you even know how long? I don't even know how long we've been talking. Probably over an hour.
Well, we started recording talking about Bond at 1, and it's almost 5. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go and finish my lunch.
Delicious.
Oh man.
All right, man. Well,
right, dude. Well, thanks for that. Was fun.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad we got through it, and yeah, we'll see what Spectre, I guess, is or whatever other movie, right?
Yeah,
it's our next one.
Yeah, and then Strange will be after that. Well, we'll probably get the Bond stuff done before Strange.
Oh yeah,
maybe. Who knows?
Probably.
We'll see what life brings.
I think Strange is happening in May, so I would assume we're probably gonna get through the Bond stuff before that.
You never know how we do things. You never know.
That's true. Maybe we'll never talk about anything else.
No, nothing else. There's no other movies after Spider-Man. I'm never going to.
That was it.
Like tomorrow they'll announce like Omicron shutting down everything. You can't. No more movies. No. Perfect. Oh man.
We'll
All
go
right.
back and watch all the MCU stuff and pretend we never saw it. And be like, what?
This isn't how I remember this. Oh boy. All right. Well,
Okay.
that'll do it. I will talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.